Hello, hello. Welcome tonight. So hopefully I can get through this. I still hear Kelly a little bit in the background. Big sis has her. I tried nursing her. I got her to sleep. She fell asleep at like 6:30. I was like, oh, good. She's asleep. And then she woke up like 20 minutes later. So every Monday night this happens. But she's really worn out from Sundays. And I think that just throws her whole day off on Monday. Is anyone else have their whole day on Monday thrown off, or is it just me? I don't know, Jessica. I don't know how they know, but Mondays are especially hard around here. We are at church the entire day from about 9:20 until about 9:20 at night. So we are there the entire day. She doesn't get naps on Sunday. That throws her whole sleep schedule off. So then on Mondays, I really work on trying to get her back on her nap schedule. So usually by Tuesday, she's back to normal, but then we repeat that cycle every single Sunday. So thank you, Vanessa. I did not even do my hair today. I literally woke up and stuck a headband in it. So I asked my husband, I'm like, does my hair look all right down? Because I don't wear it down very often. So anyways, let me look at some of the people that are here. So I saw Karen from our house, Monica and Ashley, Nicole, Miss Lady Winter, Jennifer Johnson, Jessica, and Shara, Sky, Nicole, and Joy. So, oh, good. I'm glad you got to meet my husband. He was there at Canada this weekend. So, yeah, he had a fun time. He said there's a lot of good people there. So I'm glad he got to meet you. So anyways, let's get into the subject for tonight. So I get a lot of emails from women every single week, and that's one of the things that keeps me going with this show. I get a lot of emails telling me that they appreciate it, that it really helps them. They're first generation Christians. They're new to all of this and they want to do things the right way. So that is one of the things that keeps me motivated and keeps me going. And I get a lot of emails from women who are just overwhelmed with life. They feel inadequate. They feel like giving up on being a stay-at-home mom. In fact, Karen and I were just talking about, I know there was a well-known YouTuber, homeschooler mom. She gave up, and I don't want to say give up because it is, I don't want it to sound like you're a total failure if you have to put your kids in a public school or Christian school, because things are a better option for what we're going through at that time in our life. If you've had a spouse die, if you're going through, horrible times. So I know there are different situations for different people, but she got burnt out and she put her kids in a school. She could not homeschool anymore. She was just overwhelmed. She felt inadequate. She felt stressed out all the time. So, I get a lot of emails from women like that. And I've noticed too that a lot of the times it is the husbands that are putting a lot of pressure on their wife. They expect them to be a super mom. They expect them to be super woman, maybe based off of a preconceived idea of another, all that in a bag of chips, and she's Wonder Woman and all those things. And, so I really wanted to encourage, I wanted the show to be an encouragement to other moms. My connection right now says that it's unstable. All right, we're back on. So I wanted this to be an encouragement to other moms, but also a reminder to husbands that this is a very, very difficult job that us moms are doing. And this, I know a lot of women tell me that they watch this show for husbands, and I don't ever want to come across as preachy, obviously. But I do, if you are watching this with your husbands, I want this to be an encouragement for your husbands to listen to this whole show. And maybe they can help you and they can help encourage you and they can be your support and your backup, because I feel as if there are a lot of husbands and different movements attract to different men like this. And most of it comes from comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. And a lot of times it's not even the women comparing themselves to someone else, it's the husbands comparing their wives to another wife. And that's wrong. So if I could encouragement to the husbands, there is no perfect cookie cutter wife. There is no perfect cookie cutter mom. The woman that you married is God's will for you. And she is the perfect mom for your children. And she is the perfect wife for you. And you need to be there to encourage her and support her. And to, she's going to have bad days and she needs to be able to talk to you about it, And a lot of times I think husbands are fixers, and I kind of have this personality, so I understand. They're fixers. And so if their wife comes to them complaining, they want to fix the problem. So, well, why don't you do this? Or why don't you do that? When sometimes us as wives, we just need to vent. You just need to listen and buy us a chocolate candy bar or something. Buy us a cup of coffee. Do something like that. Just be an encouragement. So, if this show can encourage husbands to help their wives that are feeling on the edge of burnout, that are feeling like they stink and they're terrible wives and they're terrible mothers, if this can be any encouragement at all, that'd be great. So, Ashley said, I know what YouTuber you mean. It sounds like she was on the verge of a mental breakdown. I wonder if she didn't have the pressure of YouTube and social media, if her stress would have been less. Maybe, and that is why I've always, my goal when I started this channel with Leslie was that I wanted to be real and I wanted to be genuine. And I didn't want to ever paint a fake picture of perfection because I am not perfect. I'm not the perfect homeschool mom. I am not the perfect pastor's wife. I'm not the perfect wife. I'm not the perfect mom. I'm not perfect in anything. And I never wanted to give off the illusion that I was. And me feel good when I did the day in our life videos and I had someone message me and tell me that usually they don't like watching those type of videos because it makes them feel bad, but mine did not. So I loved that because I liked that I was getting it across that my house is a mess and my kids are crazy sometimes. And I liked that. I liked that she didn't feel, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to measure up? How is my house ever going to measure up? How is this going to measure up? So I don't ever want to give off that persona at all. So Kelly said, comparison is a thief of joy unless you watch an episode of Hoarders. That makes me feel pretty good about myself. Me too. Makes me feel good about my home and the little bit of clutter that I do have. So, but yeah, a lot of husbands, they expect you that has 10 kids and dresses all of her kids in white, unless you're her. And even that's weird because she said she got up at 3 a.m. and it was totally light out when she got up. So even that was a lie. I'm going to point that out again, even though I did a couple weeks ago. These women feel discouraged, ill-equipped, and ill-prepared for the crazy, wonderful, huge responsibility of being mom. And it is. It's a crazy, huge load on us as moms. I don't say this much when it comes to the show, but if you are feeling completely overwhelmed and like you're about to have a mental breakdown and you don't know how much longer you can keep going, I encourage you to watch the show with your husband. Sometimes it's good for husbands to hear other moms talking about things so that they don't think that you're just some crazy loon that they happen to be hitched up with. It's good for husbands to see that other moms struggle. We struggle with the same things. So, try to explain to your husband how you're feeling. Try to let him know that maybe you're struggling. You need to reach out to someone. I'm going to reiterate that later on as we go too, but I feel like it's really washed out. This lighting is really weird tonight. I'm trying to fix it a little bit. So, do I have fetal alcohol syndrome? No. I've been doing research on it lately and I noticed some of the features. I know you said before you were born with hepatitis, so I'm wondering if that was the case. No, I do not have fetal alcohol syndrome. I don't even know. Isn't that when your mother drinks alcohol when she's pregnant with you and then you have some of the symptoms when you're born? My mom didn't drink alcohol with me. She just did other things. So I've never been asked that question. Very odd. So Sky, you can see the chat after the show ends. Usually the live chat is there as long as I don't trim the video. It should still be there. You should still be able to click on the live chat button and see all the chat that has come up Yeah, Nicole, that was kind of my thought. That was a little weird. So, yeah, okay. Um, Ashley's sermon your husband did on self-righteous reject. He talks about the whole families who look perfect in their kids and matching clothes. Those moms are stressed. Yeah, that's this lady. She like dresses all her kids in white. It's very, very odd. So let's get into it. Okay, enough chit chat. So, what did you do when you feel completely unprepared for the job of motherhood? And this is just some encouraging things I came up with this afternoon. I was thinking about it. Just trying to be a blessing. Take some of these ideas and run with them if you want to. Maybe it'll help you not feel so overwhelmed with life. But my number one thing that I tell women a lot, and I've told you all this on the show a lot, is, lower your expectations. Many of us have way too high of expectations. We're bombarded with all this stuff on social media and all these perfect lives, perfect looking lives. And we think that we need to measure up to a false standard of perfection. And honestly, our only standard is the Bible. And honestly, obviously, we're never going to be perfect like Christ, but we can always strive to be better. But when it comes to, your home life and your husband and your kids, you aren't your mom and you aren't your mother-in-law. You are you, and you will be doing things differently, and that's okay. I do things differently than my mother-in-law. I do things different than my mom. And if I've gotten any backlash at all, I've just had to tell them, listen, I'm different than you. This is the way we run our house. You ran it differently and, it worked fine for you, but maybe I learned from it. So I'm going to do things this way. These are my kids. I know my kids better than you do. I'm with them all the time. So, just lower your expectations. You don't need to live up to, perfect looking Sally next door or Lady in White on YouTube, which is, I have a suspicion that most of her life is fake. So, just lower your expectations. There's no cookie cutter wife, like I mentioned. There's no cookie cutter mom. There's no cookie cutter husband. All of us wives can remember that. There is only the one that you are married to. And you, husbands, your wife is the one that you are married to. Do not compare her to other women. Don't compare her, especially to your mom. My husband learned early on, he did not tell me when he liked his mom's cooking better. He just learned. That was the given. Don't ever, ever say anything about her cooking be better than mine. It was funny because a couple of times that, he did like her cooking better than mine. I hear the baby's asleep, so I'm trying to tell the kids to be quiet in the hallway. Stop slamming that door, okay? Gotta be quiet. Hello. But the a couple times that he did like his mom's, he like waited until like a week later, and then he was just casually mentioned it. I kind of like the way my mom did this. And then since it'd been a week, I didn't get as upset, but he still doesn't really do that often. He kind of learned. There's no cookie cutter kids. So stop thinking that your kid needs to be perfect. And I see this a lot in this movement, and I've talked about it with the whole grace thing. We go to church and we feel like at church our kids have to act perfectly and sit perfectly still and be perfect, because if they don't, everyone's going to think I'm just a terrible parent and I'm awful. You know what? Your kid's going to act up. Your kid's going to embarrass you. Your kid is going to do bad things. They're kids. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. Our kids are going to act out in private. They're going to act out in public. And you just need to learn to calmly deal with it, not because people are watching, but because it's the right thing to do. If your kid's throwing a fit, deal with it, but don't go put on a huge show just because they're embarrassing you and you're in public. Your kids are going to embarrass you. So you need to lower your expectations with your housework, first of all. Many times I strive to keep the house clean the entire day. And honestly, I'm stressed out the entire day. I'm stressed out. I'm barking orders at the kids. Pick that up. Put that away. I am so stressed out. It's so much better when I just kind of let the kids live their life in the house Teach them not to be total slobs. Don't let them throw food on the walls or the floors or, make messes intentionally. But just from living life, messes are going to happen. And when I am completely stressed out of my mind, everyone's unhappy. The kids are on edge. I'm on edge. My husband's on edge. He wants to come home to a nice, calm house. So, let the messes happen and then do a once or twice a day cleanup. Have the house cleaned when you wake up in the morning, have the house cleaned before you go to bed, during those couple times during the day. So at least then, you can breathe easy for a little bit and it's not totally messy. So, don't demand perfection. Don't demand perfection from your kids. Don't demand perfection from your husband. Don't demand perfection from yourself. Give yourself some grace. And I can already tell you, my kids are not perfect. In fact, I hear someone going on in one of the back bedrooms right now. I think they're fighting. So you might see just how unperfect my kids are in a minute if they come out here. So, even when it comes to schoolwork, I have seen so many moms that just stress out about this and they feel, I'm so inadequate. Do you know that your children, if you are just consistently doing school with them, they're 3 R's even, if you are consistently doing, um, I'm going to get rid of this guy. Hi, Ocean. I don't really like you that much. You've done a lot of hit pieces on my husband, so I'm going to hide you on this channel. He is an atheist. So I am going to hide him on here. So he won't be bothering us or you guys. Where was I? Oh yeah, with school. So if you do school every single day, which for us, we pretty much do school 5 days a week. I make sure to do it. It's just a non-negotiable in our house. I don't schedule things during the day during school hours. I always do things after, like even with Abby with her music lessons, it's after. And I don't schedule things during the day, during school hours. And we do it every day. So if your children are getting schooling every single day and you're giving them some attention every single day throughout the day, then they're going to excel and they're going to be better off than the average public schooler. So it's just, don't stress out about it. Don't feel like you need to be doing algebra 2 with your 10-year-old. Can you please tell them to stop slamming the door because Kelly's asleep? Thank you. Sorry, there's a lot of things in the background, but I do not like going to the church when it's this dark out. So, do school every day, but some days will be better than other days, and that's okay. The most important thing is that they're doing school, okay, and that you're doing school consistently. So if you just do it when you're teaching kindergarten, if you're doing a little something every day, they are going to learn, they're going to learn their school, and they're eventually going to read. And also, one thing that we've been discussing is starting kids too early in school. A lot of moms feel pressure. I did for my first 3. I started them when they were 4 in school, and that was stupid. So all my 3 older ones are going to be graduated by the time they're 17. And I feel like that's a little too young. So my last 3 now, I've started when they're a little 5.5 closer to 6. And I feel like they grasp it a lot better. I put myself and my kids through so much just resentment and tears because they couldn't figure out right away how to read. And all of my kids were readers my 3 older were reading by the time they were 5. And I just put us through a lot of stress. And I've lowered my expectations a lot when it comes to that. And it's easier on all of us. And then they're not going to have the negative, memories of crying when I'm trying to teach them how to read. So definitely, really take into account that kids are better. They're going to catch on to things quicker, go closer to 6 that they are when you finally start them in school. So, some days it's an accomplishment when your kids are all alive at the end of the day. And this is another thing too. I don't think a lot of young moms realize or understand is that, and a lot of young husbands, they don't realize or understand that kids are going to get hurt. And I'm not talking about abuse. Okay. Obviously abuse is never, I'm talking about kids being kids. I'm talking about Kelly at 10 months old crawling around and climbing up on things and falling, and unless you put them in a helmet, they're going to get hurt. Just today, she was crawling and she kind of fell up against the baby gate and she kind of hit right here on her cheekbone. It didn't break the skin; it just left a little mark. But she's going. No, but their kids are going to get hurt. There's going to be accidents. They're going to hit their head. They're going to fall. Some are going to be climbing trees and they're going to fall and break an arm. Kids are going to get hurt, and you can only watch them so much. Even when you watch them constantly, like I said, I watch Kelly constantly, but I can't be a helicopter parent. I can't be behind her every step of the way, making sure that she doesn't fall and bump her head. So, it's it's a fine line. You have to know when not to helicopter parent, versus you don't want to be too protective. You want them to live life. You want them to enjoy childhood, especially if you have kids that play outside. Please let them play outside. Let them jump on the trampoline. Let them climb trees. Let them get scrapes on their knees. More and more doctors are seeing less and less scrapes on knees, and it's because kids are inside. They're watching TV. They're playing video games the whole day. So my doctor actually told me he likes it when he sees skin knees because it means that the kids were outside playing, riding their bike. So kids are going to get hurt, and there's no way around that. So, dads, give your wife some grace. If your child has a little bump and bruise from, getting their hand slammed in something or falling, they're climbing up on the couch and they fall over, that's going to happen. Mom cannot possibly be there unless she tied herself to the kid, and even then they trip over each other and get hurt. So, give her some grace when it comes to that. She does the best that she can. And moms, give yourself some grace. I know as moms, we feel like if something happens to my child, it's all my fault. But there are just some things that it's going to happen. They're going to get scrapes and bruises, and it's just life. Think about even you. Like, I burn myself sometimes. I cut myself sometimes throughout the day. So, it's just life, and life happens. I do take a break from homeschool over the holidays. Next week, I'm probably going to do Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off. And then for Christmas, we usually do at least a week. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do 2 weeks this year. I'm probably just going to do one. And then that way, that keeps us on schedule so that we are done the last week of May. I really treasure my summers. So I want to make sure that we're always done with school by the last week of May. And I know for a fact you have to have at least 170 days of school. And that usually works with our schedule. So yes, Kirsten, I have seen kids on leashes, and they are getting hurt because their moms aren't watching, just trusting the leash. So yes, I've seen that too. I don't really like keeping my kid on a leash. So, this, I was going to say this movement has a role in making women and husbands think that their wives need to look a certain way, act a certain way. And I cannot stress enough how dangerous that is, because there is no June cleaver. And even those of us that you think, oh, they're a pastor's wife, they have it all together. No, we don't. We have bad days. Us and our husbands have arguments. We have things that we need to work through in our life and in our marriage. And none of us are perfect. We're all works in progress. So it is very dangerous. You can have role models that you go to for advice, or you go to for help, or you go to for encouragement. But please don't ever put me on a pedestal, and don't put any of the other pastors' wives on a pedestal. We don't want to be up there, frankly, because it puts a lot more stress on our lives. And then we start falling into the trap of, I have to look a certain way. I have to act a certain way. I can never let my hair down. I have to have my kids perfectly in a line all the time. So just be careful. Don't idolize other women. And husbands, don't expect your wife. Don't ever say, well, this person's wife does it this way, or this person's wife does it this way. Encourage your wife. Tell her how much you love her. Tell her how great of a job she's doing. Tell her how she's the best mother in the world. Encouragement goes a lot further than criticism. So that is very near and dear to me. Definitely. Let me see some of these comments. Let's see. Someone said, do you have any idea? Someone said, any tips to keep a 3-year-old boy busy so he feels like he's a part of it? Coloring only lasts so long. That's really hard. That's really hard. I would have a stack of books that he can look through. If it's totally horrible, put on an educational video from YouTube while you're doing school very quietly. You got to do what you got to do. And I've done that before. My kids, when we were younger, we had VHS. You didn't have like the technology that we have nowadays. And there was a Winnie the Pooh video that was like counting or something. And Tommy and Jason loved it. And so I would put that on for him sometime. And it really helped him learn a lot of stuff and a lot of numbers from that video. And if I found it again, they'd probably still remember it. So it was pretty much every day they'd watch it. It was like a half-hour video or something. So little toys, a basket of little toys, that's good too. The problem with that is that I would like rotate them because they start getting sick, the same ones. I found that even with Kelly, she's 10 months old and I have a whole huge thing of toys here and she doesn't even barely want to touch them. She just wants to go for the cabinets and the books and the papers. So it's hard to keep her occupied, even with toys that are the same all the time. So, but yeah, every home is different and that's okay. Don't try to pattern your home off of someone else's home. Don't try to pattern your standards off someone else's standards just because this person doesn't do this. Well, we're not going to do it either. Just because this person does do this, well, we're going to do it. My husband and I have always had our own set of traditions and our own way of doing things with our kids that's been different from his parents. It's been different from my parents. It's different from any other person we know. We have established boundaries and standards in our life that we want, and we have not really wavered on that much. And I think kids really need that. They need that consistency in their life. They don't need you constantly going back and forth. This week, you're never going to watch YouTube again. And then this week, well, YouTube's okay. And then this week, well, we're going to get cable now. And then the next week, nope, never cable again. And then this week, Netflix is okay. The next week, nope, it's done. We're done with everything. Don't be back and forth, back and forth. Figure out what you want, what kind of goals in your life. If it comes to watching movies, what kind of movies are we going to allow? What rating are we going to allow? Are we going to allow G movies? Are we going to allow PG movies? Even from the time that we got married, my husband and I had a standard that we would not watch rated R movies. We would not watch PG-13 movies if they had any type of nudity or sex scenes or anything like that in it. We always had that standard and we stuck with it for, the 18 years that we had been married. So yes, I am almost 40-year-old woman and I don't even know the amount of rated R movies I've seen because I just don't watch them. I remember one time I watched The Patriot like a long, long time ago, and that was rated R for the violence, I think. But it's super, super few. And I don't feel like I'm missing out. There's stuff I don't want to put in front of my eyes. And I've tried teaching my children that. So, and they see that even though, okay, mom and dad are older, they're almost, they don't watch this, they don't watch that, they don't watch this. There's certain standards that we put in our life. So, just remember that kids are going to get sick and it's going to be rough for a while. So you just need to hang in there. Maybe, and I know winter is especially tough, especially if you live in the Midwest like we do. And it's super cold and you feel like you just heard Lana cough. My kids have had this cough for like 3 weeks. It's ridiculous. And, sometimes they're just going to be sick. And sometimes you just need to watch YouTube. You just need to bundle all the kids up. You need to lay them down on the living room floor, give them elderberry syrup the whole day, give them vitamin C the whole day, make them soup, put on YouTube or documentaries. There's some good documentaries on YouTube. Have a YouTube day, take off school, just let them rest and recuperate. Some days it's going to be that way. And you're not a failure if that happens. You're doing what you need to get your family well again. Lana, don't talk in the hallway. Kelly's sleeping. Shh. Kirsten said, movies are so hard to screen. We feel like we keep changing our mind on movies we introduce and then regret. It's so hard to know what will create issues, even in G movies. It is. So I would recommend that you watch the movie first before you let your daughter watch it and then decide, is this something I want them to see? And then go ahead and let them if it is, and don't let them if it's not. So Kelly said, I love Coco Melon on YouTube and Leapfrog movies. I've never even seen that. So yes, Samantha, I know and then if you go to church, people are in church, then you're going to have sicknesses that go around, obviously. And it just feels like, I think pretty much everyone in our church has had this cough cold thing, because I keep hearing people hacking away. So just remember, sometimes you're going to have sick days, and it's okay. You're not a failure as a wife and a mother. They're going to get better quicker with you home with them, nursing them through the illness, than they would if they were sick at a daycare or whatever. Miss Lady Winter said, where do I find a guide of homeschool laws by state? You can go to Homeschool Legal Defense Association, and I believe they might have laws. I know it's just super easy to Google. You know what? Everyone can Google anything you want to find, and it's going to be at your fingertips. So I asked a lot of questions like, where do I find this? Where do I find this? I find everything just by Googling it. So just Google it, and something should pop up for sure. So someone said, monkey backpack child leash owner here. Well, hey, if it works for you, it works for you. No judgment here. It's just not for me. I've never put my kid on a leash. I like my kids to be independent. I don't know. I'm raising my children to be independent. And from the time they're little, I encourage independence. So putting them on a leash is just not for me. So definitely not. Yes, Jessica, I feel the same. She said, I always feel like as I get some progress made in the house, something happens, like the kids getting sick, having to do something for our goats, and I get so behind, and it's stressful. I know. Some days I feel like I'm pulled in 50 bazillion directions, and that's always the days when you have to do all the phone calls, and you have to schedule appointments, and you have to pay this bill over the phone, and you have to pay that bill. I understand. You feel like you're pulled a million directions, but every time you pay that bill, you're doing your job well. Every time you navigate your kids through sickness, you're doing your job well. Every time you have a homeschool day, you're doing your job well. So, try to think of all the things that you get done during the day. I think if we just sat down and we wrote a list of absolutely everything we did from sun up to sundown, we would be shocked at everything we actually do. Even though some days we feel like it's a complete wash. It was horrible today. But, we still made food for our children. We kept them alive. We still, were with our children. That's a huge bonus right there. Just them being with us. You were passing on some of your values, whether or not you knew it. So, sometimes you have to realize that sometimes it's okay to eat cereal on rough days. It is. It's okay to eat toast. It's okay to make cinnamon toast for all the kids. It's okay to make eggs and toast for supper. I've done that many times on rough days. But I feel like, some women just think that every single mom that's a good mom makes 3 solid meals every single day, never eats out, never eats cereal. And that's just not true. I know some of my best friends are some of the best homemakers there are, and they still have cereal days. If you have to have a cereal day, you have to have a cereal day. It's not going to kill your kids. In fact, your kids are going to love it. My kids love it when they have cereal days. They look forward to cereal days. Sometimes they like my cereal days better than that. So, Dorothy, I do not feel guilty about that. She said she feels guilty not being a Pinterest mom and not doing crafts and art projects with her kids every day. I definitely don't feel guilt over that, because we all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses. I call it a good day if I give my kids piano lessons, and that's my strength. So, it's a good day if I'm homeschooling them, if I keep them alive, if I, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Maybe your strength is, spending time with your kids, just reading, just listening to them, letting them talk. So that's fine too. You don't have to be Miss Pinterest Mom. Plus, I don't even think Pinterest Mom exists. If Pinterest Mom does exist and she is amazingly crafty, then you're not seeing the area behind her where she just did all the crafts, which looks like a tornado went through it. So there's pros and cons to everything. seek encouragement from the Bible every day. I've told you a lot of times about the app. I really feel like this has helped me the past year because when I do my Bible reading, and I still like to just read the Bible a lot of times, the hard copy of the Bible. But for the most part, I'm now, let me look at my streak. I think I'm almost 100 days into my streak of not missing a day. It's called U version. Yeah, I completed day 106 of my plan, the 1 year Bible. So I am now on a really, really long streak. So I would be really disappointed if I broke that. I am going on a few months of not missing a single day. And I do it every day when I'm getting ready, when I'm washing my face and brushing my teeth. And it really helps because it's getting the word of God into my mind every single day. And I really feel like that really helps my mood. Even if I don't even know it consciously, I think subconsciously, just hearing that every day really, really helps me. Listening to good godly music helps lift my mood. I find that a lot of women that are depressed, when I ask if they're reading the Bible every day, most of the time, no, because I'm too busy. I'm too busy doing this. I'm too busy doing that. But if you kept track of the amount of time that you spent on Facebook, on social media sites, if you have that much time to spend on those, you have that much time to read the Bible. So it's all a matter of priorities. And I think getting the Bible in your heart and mind is one of the best things you can do to encourage yourself because it is hard. We're constantly being bombarded in the world by atheists coming after us, by, just unsaved, just people that hate us. They're coming after us all the time. They're trying to get us down, just the world in general, the media in general, downplaying the role of a stay-at-home wife and mother. So if you constantly have that going into your head and you're not getting the Bible into your head, it's going to mess you up. So you have to have the Bible every day going into your head and mind. So I would recommend that app. It is so nice. If you go somewhere and maybe you're riding along in the car, you can read it on your phone. You can listen to it in the car. It's great. I love it. So it's U version. You do have to click the KJV setting every day, but that's about the most annoying thing about it. So Dorothy said, I used to be really creative and now I just focus on getting my kids ahead in math and spelling. That's good. But if you used to be really creative, don't forget to have fun with them too. You're going to get burned out if you're only focusing on math and spelling. You got to do something fun with them too. So I would definitely encourage you, just maybe take a day off. If you're feeling burnt out, take a day off of school and just do crafts the whole day. If that's what rejuvenates you and that's what helps, then by all means do it. Take a day off and focus on doing something fun, doing something for you. So Jessica said, I need to get rid of stuff, but the kids keep pulling stuff out of the giveaway box. Just do it when they're not around. That's what I do. I get a big garbage bag. They don't even know. They don't even notice. Obviously, they haven't played with it in 6 months. They're not going to notice. So, let's see. Nicole said, I think it would be worth it to do a little fun time, but I'm at a point where I think I need to schedule it in, and I think I'm going to try to soon. Schedule in some fun time if you need to. Do a field trip every now and then. Take your kids to the museum, go into the city. Like for us, it's 2 hours into the city, so it would be an all-day thing. Go to a museum, go to an aquarium, make a fun day of it. They're still learning things, and you get a breather from school, so you're not having to invest your mental mental stuff into the school. So as Murph Flores said, I feel bad about the fact that I can never fix my hair. I always wear it up in a bun or ponytail. I told you today, I literally roll out of bed, I brushed it, and I put in a headband. That is all I did to my hair today. So there are different hairstyles that you can come up with where you can do it. You can spend a little more time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes on one day, and then it can kind of be set for a few days. I only wash my hair every few days. So I have a hair tutorial up on my channel. If you want to go check that out, exactly how I do my hair. I just put it up in a ponytail. I blow it in a ponytail, curl it, and then it's that way for like 3 days. So there are different things that you can come up with where you can do different hairstyles. Karen has shown me a really, really good video, and I will try to, I did, okay, go to my Facebook page, Gently Led Sisters, and I shared the post that she had done with the link in it. It's really good. Basically showing how you need to dress for your job. And being a homemaker is important work. Okay. Being a homemaker is important work, and you need to dress accordingly. If you dress like in sweats and a t-shirt all the time, you're going to feel like you're not even doing a job. Like, who cares? Who cares? So if you dress nice, I always try to get dressed. I do my makeup every day. That's just me. I get dressed into something cute. I like bright colors. I like flowers. I like vintage. So I try to wear stuff along those lines. I feel better when I'm not in a junky shirt and, junky clothes. And I'm sure my kids feel like I'm taking my job important. So one of the first signs I've noticed of depression in women is that they oftentimes don't care how they look. They just throw their hair up. They don't brush it. They don't put on makeup. They don't wash their face. They don't put on deodorant. They don't bathe. They start really letting themselves go. So we always feel better if we bathe and smell good and wash our face and brush our teeth. We always feel better. So definitely, if you start feeling like you're getting depressed, try not to dress like you are. Try to take the effort to do something with yourself every day. So buns are a must on rainy days. I wear my hair in a bun a lot, and it takes me like 5 minutes to do. So maxi skirts and t-shirts are cute, Kelly, but I think you always look cute. So yeah, Jessica said, I can't really dress nice dealing with goats and chickens. No, not in a super nice frilly dress, obviously. So, there are some things that we're going to have to be a little dressed down for. So, realize that completely overwhelmed and you feel like you stink at this whole job. Realize you're not alone. Join Facebook groups that have like-minded women. Maybe if you feel like you're disorganized or you need something to help motivate you to clean your house better or get on a schedule, join a Facebook group that will help with that. I am testing, I'm in beta testing right now for an app called Motivated Moms. And when that comes out, I will let you know because it's an awesome app. It is basically an app of just different chores for every day, and you can go down and cross. So I really like that. And as soon as that is released, I'll let you know about it. So, look for areas to improve on if you feel like you stink in a certain area, and then join groups that can encourage you in that. It's very encouraging to know that there's like-minded people out there, whether there's, like-minded messy moms out there that are trying to encourage each other to do better. Whether that is there are like-minded homeschool moms out there. There's always like-minded women everywhere. So just realize you're not alone and reach out for help and become part of those groups. And if you are a part of a group with other moms, don't be harsh to them if they're having a bad day. Don't judge them harshly. We are all going through something. Most of the time, we do not know the backstory. Obviously, everyone's not going to share the whole backstory on social media. So if someone gets on one of those groups and they're talking about what a bad day they had, encourage them, lift them up, especially if they have just had a baby, they're dealing with postpartum hormones. Those are awful, evil things. They're just awful. And unless you've had a baby, you don't understand what it's like. And if you're a guy, you really don't understand what it's like. So husbands, you don't understand what it's like. We are in a whole nother town of crazy. After we give birth to a baby, we have so many hormones that are just crashing down. That first year is so tough. I finally feel like now that Kelly's 10 months old and she's sleeping through the night, I feel like my hormones are finally leveling a little bit, and I'm having my head is above water now. Those first 10 months, it was tough. She has been my most needy baby I've ever had. So husbands, give your wife some grace. Let her be a little crazy. Let her rant and rave. And women, give your friends some grace. If you're on a Facebook group, give them grace. Show them grace. We all need a little bit of grace in our life. I know God hates complaining, but there's also the Bible verse that talks about, and he shall gently lead those with young. And that is where this channel comes from. He shall gently lead those. God understands, Jesus understands. And some days we're going to have bad days and we have to cry out to him, or we have to talk to our husbands about it and just be there. Husbands, be there for your wives. Let them cry about it. Don't try to offer a million solutions. Tell them they're great. Tell them they're amazing. Tell them they're doing an awesome job and that you would choose them over anyone in the world and no one compares. That's what they need to hear. Oh, they need to hear that more than anything. So Nicole, my peak is 3 or 4 months. I also have a really hard time coming home from the hospital. That first couple of weeks, I know now what's going on, but I do feel like I'm losing my mind for the first couple of weeks. And I'm on top of it. I'm fine, but I have to have things set in place so I don't, you know, blow up or whatever. So yeah, so I don't think I'm losing my mind too. I know that it's all hormones, but be gracious. That's my biggest word of advice. Be gracious. See if your husband can give you some time alone so you can be rejuvenated and refreshed. Ask for help. Don't keep struggling alone. And I really hope if husbands are watching this that they will understand they need to be an encouragement to their wives. And they need, you helped create the child. You helped have all those children. It's not your wife's 24/7 duty to just bear everything alone. She is your helpmeet, but you created those children. Be there to help. Be there to help your wife through it. Give her some time off. Take the baby. Even walk the baby around. When Kelly was really little and she would have colic, for some reason it really helped when she loved my husband's deep voice. So a lot of times at night, he would do what he called the sympathy walk with her. And he would just kind of hold her up against his face and he would talk to her. She loved the low voice and he would just say, "Oh, my poor baby, so mistreated." It's the sympathy walk. So he's giving her sympathy. And a lot of times she would fall asleep for like 30 minutes. But hey, it was 30 minutes that I could just lay there in blissful peace. And he really helped out a lot with that. And it's funny because from the time Kelly's been little, she really, really is more attached to him than most of our babies. Now, she still likes me the best, obviously, but she knows him really, really well. And she's really good with him when he does, take her. And some of my other babies were just like, they only wanted me, only me, only me. But he helped out a lot when she was little and colicky. And it helps if your husband is not available, maybe he works a weird shift when the baby's super fussy. See if a loved one can come over and help if you're feeling completely overwhelmed. Just don't ever do it by yourself. I hear so many stories of women that are so completely overwhelmed. Just last year, the young mother that had 2 or 3 little children, and I think she had 2 little children. She was pregnant with her third, and she was holding one of them and walked out in front of a semi truck. She committed suicide. She killed herself and the baby she was carrying. Miraculously, the 2-year-old that she was holding survived, but she never reached out for help. No one was even aware that she was so depressed and she was struggling so badly, probably with just all these hormones going crazy. So please reach out to someone for sure. So, Esmar asked, does anyone else feel guilty spending time alone? I just hate to spend it alone when I could spend it with my husband, but I know it's necessary to take breaks. No. I mean, if it's a long time alone, maybe, but I really feel like, as moms, we are so busy making sure that everyone else's needs are met that a lot of times you don't take the time to meet your needs. Find out what that is. Find out what makes you feel rejuvenated. Is it spending time with a friend? Make a plan to, every week or every couple weeks, spend some time with a friend, chatting or connecting with someone. Is it going shopping at thrift stores? I love shopping at thrift stores. Make it a point to go spend some time, a couple hours a week, just by yourself, slowly browsing, no pressure on you. That's one of the things that like rejuvenates me. I love it. So, find an outlet other than mothering. For some of you, that's going to be crafts. For others of you, that's music. For some of you, that's art. For some of you, that's reading. Find some outlet. For some of you, that's blogging. Find some outlet that gives you a sense of accomplishment. I know for me, I love to write, but I don't often get around. In fact, I've had a blog idea in my head for a week now, and that's just driving me nuts. Usually once I get an idea, I just want to sit down and write it right away. But for me, I love to write. I love to blog. So every time I do write an article and get it published, that's a huge feeling of accomplishment for me. And that's something that I really, really enjoy. So find something that you really, really enjoy, that you get a sense of accomplishment out of, and do that. Jessica said a hot bath and sewing are my outlets. Yeah, I can see that. I like hot baths too. I definitely try to squeeze those in quite often. Yes, time alone is very necessary sometimes, for sure. Even if you have a bad day, remember that tomorrow is fresh with no mistakes in it. Bonus points for whoever can tell me who said that. Sky, you should know this one. Tomorrow is fresh with no mistakes in it. I love that. That's one of my life quotes. I say it often as I'm laying there. If I've had a horrible day, I just think that to myself. Tomorrow is fresh with no mistakes in it. Tomorrow is fresh with no mistake. Yep. Ding, 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 ding. She knew it. And Shirley said that. So actually Montgomery did the one that wrote the books. But yes, Anne Shirley, she said that tomorrow is fresh with no mistakes in it. So that is a good thing to remember when you've had a really horrible day. Do not let one horrible day define you and define your whole journey of motherhood. Don't be like, well, I had a horrible day. That's it. I'm done. Done being a mom, done being a wife, thrown in the towel. I'm done. Don't let that one bad day define you. Just keep going. You have to get up the next day. You have a lot of people depending on you. You have to get up. You have to do it. It's going to be okay. You're not going to ruin your kids over one bad day. But try not to let it define your entire, life as a mother and life as a wife. So Joy said, I know a mom who asks the children not to leave their room for at least an hour every day. There's a potty in there. She leaves some snacks and water. Oh, my kids would probably destroy the room. But all the more power to her. I would definitely encourage naps when they're little. This is one of the reasons I got Kelly on a sleep schedule, because I was kind of losing my mind a little bit. And I don't even have lots of littles. So if you have lots of littles, especially when my kids were younger, it's so funny now that they're older. They were talking the other day about how when we had 3 little kids, every Sunday afternoon, we would come home and they had to take naps, even until they were like 7 or 8, I think. And even when they got too old where they didn't want to take naps, we still made them lay in their rooms for an hour or two. And my son Tommy was just telling me, he's like, ugh, and now every Sunday afternoon, I want to come home and take a nap. He's like, oh, I love naps now. What was I thinking when I was a kid? And I'm like, that's because he's working now, so he knows what it's like. But I would encourage nap time for everyone at the same time. And that, when I was a young mom, that's when I would get rejuvenated. That's when I would sit with my cup of coffee. I would write. I blogged a lot when I was a young mom. I would write. That's when I would do my writing. That's when I would read my books. So that was kind of my outlet as a young mom, not being able to really, if we only had one car, being there until my husband got home. So free time for mom for sure. Motherhood is the most overwhelming journey I've ever done, but it's also the most rewarding. I have never felt more accomplishment than seeing the kids that I'm raising growing up into good people, seeing my son almost be a man and being proud of his accomplishments, and seeing my daughter just growing into a young, beautiful woman, knowing that she'll be a wife and a mother someday. There's nothing more rewarding. And I can't think of anything I've ever done in life that's more rewarding. And also, you have to remember that being a mom sometimes does not offer instant gratification, but the blessings and the rewards come much later. But the choices that you make as a young mom is what gets you to that point as an older mom of having the children that rise up and call you blessed, and having the good kids. You do not get instant gratification from it. When you're young, when you're training those kids, we live in a world that is fueled off of instant gratification when it comes to the social media, when it comes to posting something and the likes start rolling in. Lots of people are addicted to that. And there's an actual dopamine that's released in your brain that goes, it just provides a little bit of a high. So lots of people are addicted to social media. So we're used to the instant gratification. We're used to fast food, and we're used to, I'm hungry, let's go get something to eat. All right, let's go through drive-through. We're used to, I want a coffee, let's go through Starbucks. We're used to just going to the store. Okay, I want this. I don't have the money. Let's just put it on the credit card. We're used to instant gratification. And being a mom is very hard. And most days you do not receive that instant gratification. But as you see your children growing, as you see them loving church and loving the things of the Lord and going soul winning and learning things in school and becoming good human beings, that's when you're going to get your rewards. And I really believe the Bible is true when it talks about, her husband praises her in the gates and her children rise and call her blessed. That's not the exact, words of it, but that's the gist of it. And I truly believe the Bible is true, and you're not going to receive the instant gratification, but you will receive long-term gratification. And those are the best rewards. Instant gratification lasts just for a second. Those long-term rewards are what you're going for as a mom. Just remember that. Just remember that through the drudgery and the changing the diapers and the training sessions and being up all night with puking kids. Just remember, I'm getting no instant gratification from having puke all over me. But they're not going to ever forget that they had a mom who sat up with them all night when they were puking and cleaned up their vomit and held their hair back and comforted them. They're not going to forget that. They're always going to remember that. So you've got to remember that you're in it for the long-term gratification. And those are the best, that's the best type of gratification in life. One of my other life mottos is everything good in life is hard. Everything good in life takes hard work. No one ever gets good at an instrument, or no one ever, gets good at any skill that they have. Very, very few people are just born with it. We do, obviously there are child geniuses, but that is very, very rare. Most of us have to work for what we want. So, everything good in life is going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat, a lot of tears, but just keep going, keep going. Read books. I just have a few left. I'm almost out of time. Read parenting books. Read self-help books if that's what you need. If you want to become more scheduled, read books on scheduling your life. Always increase your learning. Always research new things. Keep your mind sharp. That will help you not feel like you're just stuck in, I stink at being a stay-at-home mom. I'm just stuck. I'm not learning anything. Learn new ways to streamline your life. Learn ways to be better at what you do. As a pianist, I am constantly pushing myself to be a better pianist. I'm pushing myself to be a better music teacher. I'm looking for different ways I can help, and how can I explain this better, and what book will help this student do better in this area. So, do the same thing as a mom, a stay-at-home mom. This is your trade. This is your job. So look for ways to clean your house better, and look for ways to stay motivated at getting things picked up, and look for ways to do natural cleaning, and look for ways to get better at cooking and make better recipes, or, whatever it is. Just look for ways. Read books, read websites, read anything that helps. Lauren said, hi from New Zealand. I so need this with my 5-week-old and homeschooling my 4. Okay, first off, stop there. You have a 5-week-old. Give yourself a lot of grace, okay? That whole first year is going to be tough. That whole first year after having a baby is so tough. And then for a lot of us, once we finally make it over that year hump, then a lot of us get pregnant again. And so we're having kids every 2 years. So it's like one roller coaster emotion. You're like pregnant with hormones. You just have the baby the whole first year with hormones. You're nursing with hormones. So give yourself a lot of grace. It is not easy to get what you want to in each day, but you're not going to get to it all. And that's where, go back and watch the first part of this, lower your expectations. Feed the kids, clothe the kids, nurture the kids, keep them alive, and Keep your house, most of the clutter picked up, semi picked up. You don't want to look like a hoarder, like Kelly talked about at the beginning. You don't want to look like a hoarder, but you want to provide a sanitary living condition for your children. But you don't need to be able to eat off the floors and have every cobweb dusted, every surface of your house dusted to perfection all the time. Give yourself some grace, a lot of grace. Any good books on different learning styles of kids? My boys and girls are night and day. There are a lot of good books out there on that. I don't know any off the top of my head. I know there are. There's a good book for every subject. Every subject in the world, there's a good book for. So, and Joy asked, is it reasonable to believe I can breastfeed until she's at least 2? Yeah, that's reasonable. I mean, I always nurse until my kids are just done with it. Most of the time, they just start refusing me. So I know they're done. And that's usually about 13 months with mine. So if she can go till she's 2, then she's going to be getting all those immunities and everything that goes with it. So all the more power to you. Yeah. Crystal said, I've learned to just do what I can. And that's the thing. It's learning to do what you can. It's doing your best. I'm not talking about the moms that feel like a failure because they're sitting around for 10 hours a day on Facebook. Anyone would feel like a failure after doing that. Oh, no, I'm talking about the ones that are really trying. They're up, their feet hit the ground running from the time they wake up, and they're going all day, and yet they still feel like a failure. Obviously, one, you have too high of expectations. Your husband has too high of expectations of you. I feel like a lot of times the husbands are feeding into this as well. So the husbands really have to watch out for this, especially younger dads, I feel like as dads mature and get older, and they really start seeing how much work comes along with having more and more and more children, then they kind of ease off a little. They kind of learn. They get it. So, because the husband really can, if he's not on board and he's putting pressure on you, it is going to be more difficult. In that situation, I would just, nag him about it, but definitely try to have a heart-to-heart talk with him about it. Try to let him show him that you are feeling overwhelmed. You know that you can do this, but you are just feeling a little overwhelmed, and then ask him if there's something you could do. Can you watch the kids for a few hours so I can get a break? Can I, have some alone time? I need at least an hour a day where I can just decompress and breathe. Can you put the kids to bed? When our kids were really, really young, my husband put them to bed every night, and that helped a lot. On Sunday mornings, a lot, he gave the kids baths, the boys baths, when they were real, real little. That helped a lot. So, anything that the husband can do to help out, it's gonna go far. It's gonna give you some peace. So, watch videos, watch homemaking videos. Check out on Facebook that video I linked to. It's really good. Just talking about getting ready for your day, putting on something pretty, putting something that's uniquely you, because we're all gonna look different. That's gonna look different for us. A pretty apron goes far. It protects your clothes. And it's cute, so do something like that every day and it will make you feel a lot better. But I think that's about it. But my last point was just, if you feel like you stink at being a stay-at-home mom, just my biggest advice is just chill. Just chill. Try to relax. And I say this because I'm constantly telling myself to chill, because I do have a type A personality. And I do a million things. I am definitely burning the candle at both ends right now, especially with Christmas coming up. I do so much and I have so much on my plate. But honestly, I've gotten to the point in my life where I do just take it one day at a time. I enjoy the moment that I'm in. Today, my Mondays are kind of more down days, which is good because those are Kelly's fussy days. So I just try to enjoy it. I try not to get overwhelmed of my week ahead. I just take one day at a time. And that's really all I can tell you, especially if you have young kids. Just take it one day at a time. Try to find joy in the little things. Try to find joy in the messes. Try to find joy in the chaos. Realize that if you have agreed to give your child years to God, you're going to have a lot of kids. And when you have a lot of kids, there's going to be chaos, and it's not going to be perfection. And you don't have to be perfection, and you don't have to expect your kids to be perfection, because they're human beings too. If you're not going to expect yourself to be perfect, why expect your kids to be perfect? show a lot of grace. Try to find joy. Try to laugh at the 2-year-old. Oh, I remember one time Abby, she can like hear me. She's in the kitchen too. I know she can hear me. Every day during nap, I would have to keep watching her because she was sneaky and she would get into stuff. And one day, I don't know, and she had like, Abby, had you like dipped your head in the toilet or something?
Yeah, I tried to wash my hair.
She tried to wash her hair in the toilet. She had Q-tips. That was the Q-tip day, wasn't it? Where you had 50 trillion, it was like a box of 2,000 Q-tips, every single Q-tip all over the floor. And when I came up in the bathroom and I saw that, I took a picture of it. She's nodding her head, yes. I took a picture of it because it was so hilarious. She tried washing her hair. It was like all over her face. It backfired because she's like crying. In the picture, she's like, and it's a total mess. But try to, we all have phones now. This was back with a camera that printed out the pictures, 35 millimeter film. So we all have phones. Try to just laugh about things because there's really not, you can either laugh or cry. So for a lot of things, I try to laugh. Sometimes I lose it, but I try to laugh. So, just try to laugh, try to find joy in the little things, in the little moments, and just realize how blessed you are. Realize how blessed you are to get to stay home with these little people that you get to shape their hearts and their minds, and you get to kiss and love on them all day long, and you get to hug them, and you get to cuddle with them, and you get to read to them, and you get to be their mom, and you are the most perfect mom for them. No other mom is as good for your kids as you are. You know your kids better than anyone else. Oh, Abby found the picture. Oh, here's the picture. Oh, do you see that? I can't believe she found the picture.
Gotta go put that on my Instagram now.
So this is the picture of Abby. See, I took a picture of it. She has her blanket and everything. Oh, that is so funny. I can't believe she found it. That was the picture. But in her room that you don't see, she had gotten out every single Q-tip all over the floor in her room. So I had to pick up like 2,000 Q-tips after I took that picture. So, it says my connection is unstable again. Can you guys still hear me? I'm almost done. So yes, she is 15 this week and time has flown. And sometimes I wish I could go back to that little girl. And I was a little too hard on her when she was little. She was ornery. I was a little too hard on her. So I wish I could go back and tell my younger self to show grace. So show your kids grace, show yourself grace, and try not to get overwhelmed because we're in this for the long haul. The decisions we make now when our kids are younger are going to carry over into when they're older. So just keep that in mind. And if I can be any encouragement, just let me know. Email me. I'll try to offer you some encouraging words. If anything, I'll just tell you, just keep going. You can do it. You are what your kids need. You are your kids' mom. You are what they need. So, yes, don't look back. Just look forward to Jesus. And you can't look back. We all make mistakes, and you can't just live in the past and regret and think over everything you did wrong. If you messed up, confess it. Ask Jesus forgiveness. Ask your kids for forgiveness if you need to, and do better the next day. Tomorrow is fresh with no mistakes. That was an encouragement, and I am going to have Miss Sherry on in 2 weeks from today. So the first week of December, I believe I'm going to have her on. So look forward to that. I had a couple topics I wanted to cover, and she's really, really busy with a conference this week and things like that. So I didn't want to ask her this week because she's getting ready to leave. I didn't want to ask her next. 2 weeks from today, we will be having Miss Sherry on to talk about being an in-law, being a grandmother. Share this video, like it, leave a comment. If it can be a blessing to someone else, encourage other women that are in the same thing as you. And we will talk to you next week. All right. See you later. Bye.